Excuse me.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest. And first timer on Ron Siegel Radio, Scott Bailey is with us, Sandler Training Systems. Welcome.
Ron, I want to thank you for inviting me to speak on your radio show today. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Glad to have you with us. Hey, let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, and yes, of course, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. And I'm looking at the celebrations today, and having beaten anorexia, I'm looking good here. Today is National Chocolate Pudding Day. And you don't find chocolate pudding around very much, but when I do, I'm the first to grab it. Yeah, and I got the whipped cream right there on top. Looks good. It's Monday morning. I guess, well, it doesn't do very good with my diet, but then again, neither do I. And let's see what else is going on today. Today, National Coconut Day. So you might even put some coconut right on top of the chocolate pudding. I'm more coconut water. You know what coconut water is good for? Well, that's a whole different story. Sometimes the morning after, coconut water is a benefit. National Beautician's Day. Yeah, well, it's not going to work. I've tried for years and years. I've got a face for radio. Barcode Day. I've been there too. Nah, I don't know. Still, let's go see what the markets are doing, being that I'm getting bored with the celebrations now that we passed chocolate pudding. Dow Jones Industrial Average, it's up 17.9. Now it's up 18.9 as we speak. S&P 500 is down 3. The NASDAQ is down 44. Oil up 30 cents a barrel, 69.46 as I speak per barrel of oil. And I understand it's kind of a surprise that California is no longer leading the way. We don't have the highest gas prices in the country anymore. Washington has beat us. It's amazing. It's that Washington actually beat California. They're paying $497.7 up in Washington. We're at $484.3. Wow. I'm still going to Hawaii to check it out. $472 over there in Hawaii. Let's see, Josh, you're gone down a little more, Josh. What's the deal? $423 there in Vegas. We go up. Nevada goes down. $3.99 in Arizona, and our tremendous underwriter Lori, she's at $3.11 a gallon. $3.11 for gasoline. We haven't seen $3.11 since for gasoline. Oh yeah, that's when President Trump was in office. Before the war in Ukraine. I know that's what caused gas prices to go up. Let's see what else is going on in the world right now. Have you followed any of these things going on? I did check it out, and I'm going to get myself in a lot of trouble here, but I'm going to do it anyway. I still love my alma mater, Chapman College. Now that they're a university, I'm giving them a rough time because they did their economic forecast update on Thursday. And not that they gave out incorrect information, but the information that they shared was misleading. They talk about the median price of homes going down. And in the next segment, I'm going to explain to you exactly why that's misleading data. And it's something you should ignore from the Chapman University Economic Forecast Update. And later this week, when the media comes out with some of the numbers, ignore them too, because not that they're wrong, but they're giving you information that is not qualified properly. And we've talked about this before on Ron Siegel Radio. I'm going to tell you why it's not qualified properly. And I'm going to explain the whole subject to you. And we may even be able to get a graphic because I forgot to send it to Josh. We might try and get that graphic to you. I do these things to Josh all the time and send it to him late. But here's the issue. They're talking about median home prices. And do you know what median home prices are good for? Absolutely nothing. Even according to the late S.C. Adibi, when I spoke to him, and he was one of Jim Doty's co-conspirators when they created the economic forecast at Chapman College way back when, before they were the fancy university. And I can say that because I was on an early one of the forecast staffs way back then. So here's the issue. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to show you exactly why. Either I'll be able to get the graph to you, which I'm going to send a new version to Josh right now, or we're going to do it through a bird's eye view of why it's misleading. Now, a lot of folks don't understand that issue. You're going to understand it because it's still a great time to buy a house. And as I've shared with you before, you have options. You do not have to have a house. Some people choose a Coleman. It's called a tent. Those of us that want a roof over our head, something with a little more substance, we're going to pick a house. And should you rent or should you buy? We'll talk about that. Should you wait or should you do it now? We'll talk about that. And why wouldn't you want to buy if prices are going to go down, according to Chapman University? And
it is what it is.
The bum information that they have for you. So we're going to watch all of that for you. And we're going to share that with you in the Mortgage Minute today. But let's see what else is going on in the world. Yeah, we're a lot of problems over there in Russia now. Do you see that? Follow that one, the Wagner Group? Yeah, they decided not to go all the way, but maybe the reason they're not going all the way, if you listen and if you study. What happens in Russia when the people perceive their monarch, their dictator, to be weak? Well, the people get rid of them. So the Wagner Group doesn't need to do that. So we're going to watch and see what happens there. But, then maybe our gas prices will go up again. I don't know, because the president doesn't want us to drill for anything here. So we'll be watching that for you. What's going to happen with our inflation? Well, as long as the president doesn't believe that spending too much money causes inflation, well, we're going to keep having inflation. And the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, my thinking about Jerome Powell. Yes.
Idiot. Such an
so
idiot.
Jerome Powell, he doesn't want to, risk anything. So he won't tell the administration, he won't tell the federal government that inflation is caused by too much spending. So instead of doing that, what's he going to do? He's just going to keep on raising rates. Until when? Till the economy breaks. And there's all kinds of evidence that the economy is already breaking, but Mr. Powell,
such an idiot.
He doesn't look forward. He only looks backwards. He's looking at what the data says. Well, look at current data, Mr. Powell, and you'll see that jobs are not plentiful any longer. The first-time jobless rates are going up. The largest part of the inflation number, that's housing, is not appreciating the way it was. That's coming back in line. And if Mr. Powell would look at these things, he would realize, but no, he doesn't. He's going to keep on raising interest rates until we have mass unemployment. And you know that recessions always start when the inflation numbers or the employment numbers are at a low. You don't go into a recession when you've got a high unemployment number. Never happens historically. Maybe it'll change, but in the last 40 years, it hasn't been that way. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, the true cost of selling your house on your own, what home buyers need to know about credit scores, and we're going to learn a bit. Are you a salesperson? Of course you are. Everybody is. You maybe had to sell yourself, not that way, but to get the job you have, you had to sell yourself. Maybe somebody helped you buy a house. They educated you on the buying a house. Everybody's got to sell something. Are you doing it the right way? We're going to talk about that. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay's available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis, rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at ronismylender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. ronismylender.com.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit ronsiegelradio.com.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. ronismylender.com. Again, ronismylender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates. We don't know APR, points paid, points received, with consumers across 42% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. What did the rates lock at on Friday? Looks like almost all of them were down on Friday. We've got the 30-year conforming 6.676, jumbo 6.791, FHA 6.65. USDA was the only one that was up. That's the rural neighborhoods. Generally, no down payment, 6.67. And the 30-year VA loan, best loan on the market for those that earned it. You do not get to just apply. You have to earn it. That one was down 6.435. Let's see what's going on today in the mortgage market so we can see that part as well, or the numbers that are driving it. 10-year Treasury is down 2 basis points. The S&P 500 is down just a little bit. It's pretty, call it flat. Mortgage-backed securities are up just a little bit. We'll call that one flat also. Let's talk about our friends over at Chapman University. So Jim Doty spent a lot of time during the forecast update on Thursday talking about 4 different items in the regression model. I will not bore you with the regression model. I had to do that for 6 months to be on the staff, so I'm not going to put you through it now. But here's the issue. They talk, one of the big items in there was median home prices. And I want to explain median home prices and why, while accurate, it's misleading. Let's talk about this right now. And I'm going to give you some real live numbers from a chart that I have right in front of me right now. 2022. Let's just take 5 homes that sold in 2022. Got home number 1, $200,000. Home number 2, $250,000. Home number 3, $300,000. Home number 4, $350,000. And home number 5, $400,000. 5 homes sold. Median means it's the number in the middle. You don't average anything. You just looking, half the homes had to be above, half the homes had to be below. The number in the middle is all that matters. In this case, that number is 300,000. Now, let's say, as happened in 2022, homes appreciated 6%. That means your next door neighbor bought their house in 2021. The end of 2022, they sell it. They got 6% more for that property. Okay, so now we're going into 2023, and we've got that 6% appreciation. Home number 1 was 200,000. Now it's 212,000. Home number 2 was 250,000. Now it's 265. Home number 3 was 300. Now it's 318. Home number 4 was 350. Now it's 371. Home number 5 was 400. Now it's 424. But wait, only 3 homes sold. Home number 1, home number 2, and home number 3. So even though we just told you the pricing on those homes, when home number 1, 2, and 3 sold, now the middle number is that 265,000. Well, that tells us that the median was down 13%. But was that house down 13%? No, it was up 6%. That's the error of using median home prices without qualifying it to educate people on why median means absolutely nothing. So why do they use it? Well, according to the late Essie Adibi, who did help create the economic forecast over at Chapman College, then now Chapman University, along with Jim Doty, it's a meaningless stat, but it's consistent, so we keep on using the meaningless, consistent stat. Just throw that out there for you. So when this week, when we get some of the personal consumption expenditures, the Fed's favorite guide for inflation, and you know my thinking about the Fed.
Idiot.
Yes.
Such an
So
idiot.
when they come out and they talk about housing and they say, well, it's up 8%, well, that's because they're using old data. It's not up 8%. It's not nowhere close. So that's what's going on. And you're going to hear then you're going to get Diana Olick. And you know about Diana Olick. The next time she gets something right on real estate, it will also be the first time she gets something right on real estate. But she's still on CNBC all the time. So she's going to tell you that the housing sector is slow. Don't buy a house, all that dumb stuff. I guess she likes, she must own stock in Coleman Tents. I don't know. But that's the issue that we're going to hear from her because she gets it wrong every time. Bank deposits. We've talked about this one before with the regional banks. Finally, we're starting to see some money coming into the regional banks or into banking as a whole. So that's good news. Tomorrow we will get that Case-Shiller FHFA, the new home sales numbers. Case-Shiller and FHFA, they're going to tell you what's really happening with home sales because they're actually looking at these numbers, not median numbers. They're looking at appreciation numbers. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So let's chat with our featured guest this morning. Scott Bailey is with us. Give me the name of the company correctly. I see Sandler Training, Sandler's Selling System, and then I see just Sandler.
It all works, Ron.
It all works.
But we are a training organization.
What do you train? I mean, I'm oversized. Is that the kind of training you're talking about?
Are you trainable?
With enough treats? Maybe not.
We focus on sales and sales leadership, sales management, VPs of sales, chief revenue officers, and the like, based upon something called the Sandler Selling System.
Okay. And so before the broadcast, I had shared with you that I just read a book that's, I guess, by the CEO or owner or
Dave Matz,
a significant individual in the company.
Mm-hmm.
Great book.
Mm-hmm. You can't teach a kid to ride a bike at a seminar.
That was the one.
Second edition.
Okay, second edition. Okay, so hopefully Josh can hear you better. I've got you maxed out on the mic. Great book. So is that book legitimate? Is that really what an overview of how you train?
Well, it's a story of David Sandler, our founder, who about 50 years ago discovered a more powerful, authentic way of selling based upon what we call pattern interrupts. And what I mean by pattern interrupt is doing literally the opposite of what most salespeople do, because most people don't like to be sold. In fact, how do you feel when you're in a selling situation where you feel somebody's trying to sell you? Do you feel a little bit of pressure, resistance?
I feel a significant urge to leave.
Exactly. And that's why
compelling, I guess.
That's why selling is such a bad name. But you mentioned earlier, everybody sells. You ever been on a job interview or a date? You're in a selling situation.
Right.
And some function, if you own a business or you're a realtor, whatever you're doing, you need to bring in revenue. And what we found is there's systems to do that. And you can sell by the seat of your pants, work hard, fly by night kind of thing. Or you could use a system, a proven system like the Sandler Selling System.
And it's got a lot of great tools in there, is what or concepts.
Yeah.
That
tons of concepts.
I felt, just realizing that you're not gonna, you brought up the idea of dating, so I'm gonna just run with that one, right? You go out on a first, you find somebody that you're attracted to, and you're not trying to sell them on a lifelong relationship. In the first hello,
you're trying to get the next date is what you're
right.
trying to do.
And that was one of the things I took from the book is realize what are you trying to accomplish, and it's not step 17, right? If I go to the gym tomorrow, I'm not going to lose 50 pounds by the end of the week.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, I am one that I bought it. They said, get a gym membership and you'll lose weight. I bought the membership. I haven't lost anything.
Ron, where most sales training fails is that people don't reinforce what they learn. They go to 1 or 2 day seminar and they think they're trained. It just doesn't work that way. The techniques that you learn in sales are perishable. You have to practice them. Just like a new language. I'm guessing that you don't speak German as an example.
No, you're guessing correct.
Okay, so if you were to learn a foreign language like German, you'd go through some steps. You might take an elementary German class in 2 days. You'd be able to learn 300 words, say please and thank you, order some food, but you wouldn't be able to have much of a conversation with somebody who's fluent in German. So the next level would be conversational German and then fluency.
Sure.
So our system it's like learning a language, and it really is. Sandler Selling System is a language. It's a language of selling.
It was very fascinating to me.
Yeah.
Because it seemed to me like you got to practice.
Yeah. I mentioned the term pattern interrupt. This is what David Sandler discovered. So we live in a world of opposites. Think about this: up, down, left, right, heads, tails. There's sales training.
Male, female.
You could say that on your show. We can say that today. There's sales training and there's Sandler training. Literally the opposite of what is taught in other courses. I mentioned the term.
Give me an example. What do you mean by that? That an opposite?
I mentioned the term pattern interrupt. Every salesperson who has classic training knows the ABC rule. Always be closing, always be closing. Generally, it's based upon a model of numbers. Get in front of as many people as you can. Give them all this great information. Try to convince them to buy, and then ask for the business where they ask for a yes. What do you typically tell a salesperson when he or she goes to close you? What do you typically say?
No thanks, just looking.
You some kind of
Brush off.
wishy-washy, think it over, which is really closer to a no, right?
Sure.
Our data shows that 93% of think it overs are actually no's. So a pattern interrupt to closing for a yes at the end of the sales presentation would be literally closing for a no at the beginning. Ron will be meeting for an hour today. At the end of our meeting, you and I may determine we don't have a fit. And if that's the case, just tell me that. So get the no out of the way right now. And all that does is leave room for yeses because we get the no out of the way up front.
Makes sense to me. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. More with Scott Bailey. When we come back, you can reach me anytime. Off air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694552.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at RonSiegelRadio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you can retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Great tool for you. It will help you monitor your credit scores, bank accounts, asset accounts, value of your real estate, and it also has 97% of all real estate available for sale across the entire United States, rsrmoney.com. The true cost of selling your house on your own. No simple task. While some homeowners opt to sell their homes on their own, known as FSBO, for sale by owner, they often encounter various challenges without the guidance of a real estate agent. If you're currently considering selling your house on your own, here's what you should know. The most recent profile of home buyers and sellers from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, surveyed homeowners who recently sold their homes and asked what difficulties they faced. Those sellers say some of the greatest challenges were preparing their home for sale, pricing it right, and properly managing the required paperwork, just to name a few. When it comes to selling your most valuable asset, consider the invaluable support that a real estate agent can provide. By partnering with an agent, you can navigate the complexities of the selling process with confidence. Here are just a few of the many ways an agent is essential to your home sale. Remember, I do have a real estate license. I am not qualified to help you sell a house because I don't know what I'm doing with it. Maybe you don't either. Number one, marketing and exposure. Effective marketing is a key piece of attracting qualified buyers to your property. Real estate agents have access to various marketing tools and platforms, including MLS listings, professional photography, virtual tours, and extensive professional networks. They can create a compelling listing that highlights your home's best features and reaches a wider audience. If you sell on your own, you may struggle to match the reach of agents, resulting in limited exposure and ultimately fewer potential buyers. Number two, managing liability and legal considerations. Today, more disclosures and regulations are mandatory when selling a house. And all that paperwork and all the legal aspects of selling a home can be a lot to manage. Selling a house without professional guidance exposes homeowners to potential liability risks and legal complications. Real estate agents are well versed in contracts, disclosures, regulations necessary during a sale. Their expertise helps minimize the risk of errors and omissions that could lead to legal disputes or delays. Number three, negotiations and contracts. Negotiating the terms of a home sale can be challenging, especially when emotions are involved. You may find it overwhelming to navigate these negotiations alone without an agent. You assume the responsibility on your own. This means you have full accountability for working and negotiating with the buyer, the buyer's agent, the home inspection company, the home appraiser. Rather than going toe-to-toe with all those parties alone, lean on an expert. Real estate agents act as intermediaries, skillfully negotiating on your behalf and ensuring that your best interests are protected. They have experience in handling tough negotiations, counteroffers, and contingencies. When you sell your house yourself, you need to be prepared to manage these vendors on your own. Number four, pricing and housing market knowledge. Determining the right price for your property is crucial. It requires in-depth knowledge of the local real estate market, including recent sales data, neighborhood trends, and the current demands for properties. Real estate agents have access to comprehensive data and expertise to analyze it accurately. When you sell your house on your own without this comprehensive information, you risk overpricing or underpricing your home. This can result in an extended time on market and also risk leaving money on the table. If you want to give away your house, call me, 800-306-1990. I'll take it. But if you want to get the most from your property, talk to a professional real estate agent. You can call me and I'll put you in touch with one of them as well. That is the real-time real estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrmoney.com, rsrmoney.com. Continue our conversation this morning. Scott Bailey is with us. Sandler Training is the company that he is with, giving us some education. So, Scott, how'd you get into this? I mean, how'd you become a trainer?
First of all, becoming a salesperson is not a career goal for most people, right? I'm highly introverted, and I wanted to be a pilot growing up because my father was an Air Force fighter pilot, World War II. But anyway, I went on to major in biology in college because when I found out,
Fighter pilot to biology.
well, I needed glasses.
Okay.
And my dad had to sit me down and break my heart and say, son, you're not going to get in the Air Force because you got to have perfect vision. So we had to go to plan B, and I happened to test well in math and science. So I majored in biology with the goal of becoming an optometrist. Well, after I got out of college, I needed a little break. I needed to make some money. So I decided to try sales. And back then, the medical industry was hiring biology majors because we can go talk to doctors. We know the language of science. So I sold medical products for 20 years and was pretty successful at it. But when after about 20 years of that, I realized I can't work any harder. I mean, it's hard work. And at some point, you got to make a decision. And we all know how to work hard. But what Sandler's about is working smart. You already know how to work hard. How about working smart? So I had heard about the Sandler selling system, and I realized that this was my career path. I'm 40 years old, and I am a salesperson. Get yourself some professional training outside of what your company's provided for you, which is primarily product knowledge. So I found myself sitting in front of a Sandler trainer, inquiring about his program. Next thing I know, I'm in his program, and 6 months later, I had seen my sales take another 30% increase with half the work. I worked half as hard and got a 30% return. Why?
That's nice.
Well, why? Because most salespeople are practicing in front of their customers. They don't take the time to practice with other professional people and learn a true system. Rather than winging it, have a true system of selling. And that's what the Sandler selling system did for me. And the company had some problems with the FDA, so I realized how cool this is. And I bought my franchise. It is a franchise 29 years ago this summer.
Wow.
So I've been at this. I was a client of Sandler's, and I saw what it did for me in medical sales. And I've been continuously at this business for 29 years. We're based in Irvine, California.
So can you do this? So do I have to be in medical sales to follow the system?
No, the system doesn't care what you sell. It's agnostic. It's a set of principles that you can apply in any industry. Real estate, software, doesn't matter. We have clients from all across the board. And that's the benefit of it, because it becomes a true mind share of all that collective knowledge.
That's interesting, because so many areas you look at and you wonder, especially when you get into management levels. Yeah. I laughed at one time because I don't remember which direction it was, but the CEO of, I think it was Nabisco, left Nabisco and went to work for IBM.
Okay.
And it might have been the other way around. It might have been IBM CEO went to work for Nabisco.
Right.
And in fact, it was quite many years ago. And I'm thinking, how the heck do you go from being the CEO of a food company to the CEO of a computer company? And then someone said, well, it's because you're still doing the same thing. It's just the widget is different.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what you're saying, is that, you know, the system is the system, and what you throw into the system doesn't really matter.
Well, what happens, most sales training is focused on products, product knowledge. Get in front of your, or service, get in front of your prospect, show them how smart you are, and ask for their business. Well, prospects know that salespeople are highly educated on their product, and they often turn salespeople into what we call unpaid consultants, because people love to answer questions. Salespeople are great at answering questions, but what they're doing is giving it all away. They're talking too much. At Sandler,
that's a surprise, right? That salespeople talking too much.
Surprise.
We have something called the 70-30 rule. The prospect should be speaking 70% of the time, the salesperson 30%. And when we're speaking, we're asking questions. We're driving the conversation. Here's an analogy. One of the best professions for selling is psychology or a detective. Think of what a detective has to do. When he or she shows up at a crime scene, right? There's only one mission. It's to get to the truth. And that's what Sandler does, because we recognize that buyers play games with salespeople.
Really?
They don't always tell us the truth.
No, you're kidding.
So the Sandler selling system cuts through all that stuff. We have something called an upfront contract, which is the agreement we have to tell each other no and all that I can't get into in this short period of time, to seek the truth. At Sandler, we call that pain. Pain and truth are the same thing. Find out the real reason, if you could help somebody, and follow the process, and stop always closing people. Qualify people.
Okay. So no closing, and you're qualifying.
Instead of the always be closing, it's always be qualifying. ABQ, always be qualifying. A qualified prospect in the Sandler language would be somebody who has pain, which is a problem with an emotional attachment to it. Can they afford you? Are they willing and able to spend the money? And is there a decision-making process in place? Pain plus budget plus decision equals qualifying. We work hard at that.
That's pretty fascinating. So there's no real, so all of those things are basically universal.
Exactly. You got it.
Now, what do you mean by an upfront contract? We all have to have lawyers and all that kind of stuff then?
Well, this is the magic dust of Sandler. It is the game changer, the absolute game changer. It's the conversation that you have with the prospect up front. It's called an adult transaction. It's a contract. Ron, we're going to be meeting for 30 minutes. I'm going to turn my cell phone off. I'm going to ask you some questions. You're going to ask me some questions. At the end of our meeting, we can be in one or two places. We can determine we're not a fit, or we can determine what a fit looks like. It's that simple. It's that conversation that the salesperson needs to drive and get that agreement with the buyer. A contract, a mutual agreement.
Well, I love, one of the things I loved when I read the book was, that I'll think about it is not one of those options you just gave.
We have 5 allowable outcomes at Sandler. We get a yes. We like yeses, and we get the check, and the check clears, by the way. We get a no.
That's a novel system.
A no can hurt a little bit, but a no does not equal never. We can get a clear next step, and that's not the same as a think it over. Hey, let's circle back in a month or two. That's not a clear next step. We could get a lesson. We could always learn something, okay? And we get a referral. Those are the 5 allowable outcomes of a sales call. As long as you're seeking those, you're using the Sandler selling system.
Interesting. We're going to continue our conversation with Scott Bailey. I want to learn more about this. I think that if you're alive, you probably are going to want to learn more about it. Can we use this before? I want to get a yes or no from you here, and then we'll dig into it in the next segment.
Go for it.
Can we use this with raising our kids?
What do you think?
There we go. That's the answer. Okay, we're going to talk about that when we come back.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about that and more with Scott Bailey. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
March Madness might be over, but the game is still on for homebuyers. Don't let misrepresentation of home appreciation outlook get you down. The FHFA says that despite the Fed doubling interest rates, home prices are just down less than 1% from their peak last June. What are you waiting for? It's time to shoot your shot and start your home buying journey with RSRmoney.com. They will guide you through every step, making the process as smooth as a three-pointer. Visit RSRmoney.com now and make your dream home a reality.
Are you a renter and tired of making monthly payments? Paying off someone else's mortgage? Hey, it's Ron Siegel here to help you stop renting and start owning your dream home with amazing low interest rates. And you could potentially qualify for a $500,000 home for less than $5,000 out of pocket. So stop renting. Start owning with Ron Siegel. Learn more at ronsiegelradio.com and start owning today. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And because I talk too much, we're going to just give you a little bit of the Your Credit Matters segment today, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report, it is wrong. What are you doing about it? Here's what I want to tell you right now. I'm just going to give you maybe a minute or two. Student loan debt is going to come back and have to be addressed. Yes, it was part of the latest debt bill that came through that we're going to have to start paying student loan debt starting October 1. Bills are going to go out the beginning of September. They'll be late November 1. Do you want to late on your credit report? Can you afford your student loan debt? rsrstudentloanhelp.com, rsrstudentloanhelp.com. We're going to be putting together a lot of data for you. There are 11 programs that the federal government has that can help you reduce your student loan debt. Only on the federal programs, 11 different programs. I just saw one that reduced their debt by about $800 a month. $800. We're going to be helping a lot of folks with that coming up. rsrstudentloanhelp.com. rsrstudentloanhelp.com. We're going to get all that data out to you. That's Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Continue our conversation. Scott Bailey is with us. Sandler Training is the company. And we're chatting a little bit before the break. I threw this question at Scott. Can we use the system for our kids? Because we are training them. Can it help us with raising kids?
That's a great question, Ron. Anytime you're communicating with another human being, you can use Sandler. I actually present it as a communication system that you can use in sales. And David Sandler, our founder, who, with his research in psychology, applied all these techniques. You bet you can.
So it works for now he was, if I remember correctly, talking the history, he was a sold motivational materials or something. Was that part of the background?
We work in three areas. We work, for those of you that are listening, if you want to draw a triangle, just draw a triangle, put success in the middle of it. Up at the top, put the word.
And I'm doing all these things.
There you go. Okay, so success. Up at the top, put attitude. That's how you're feeling and your outlook, and that's where most training is. It's motivational. Try to get you jacked up. On the right corner, right technique. Those are the techniques, like an upfront contract, like we've been talking about, is a technique. On the area on the left, that would be behavior. We work, and that's what you're doing. And all three of those things are important. It's not enough just to get pumped up. You have to do the stuff, because what's the one thing all salespeople hate to do? Prospect.
Sure.
They hate it. We at Sandler know that. We say you don't have to like cold calls, you still have to make them. Or you don't have to like prospecting, but you still have to do it. So if you had a plan, what we call a cookbook, a recipe for success that would encompass maybe one networking meeting, a radio show that you're doing, some kind of behavior that drives business, and you do it every day to a plan, to your cookbook, business is going to come in, and that's what's going to impact your attitude. So here's a Sandler rule that's one of my favorite. It's not always how you feel that determines how you act. Rather, it's how you act that determines how you feel. Just do the behavior. But you have to know what that behavior is.
So then the systems that you're talking about sound like they're not, just for the corporate exec. You could have it be an individual and come through your training process.
Individual, we have tons of individuals, a small business owner who has to sell for his or her company, a CPA who's trying to grow her practice, an immigration attorney trying to grow an estate, a financial planner. All these people are professional people, but they have to wear a sales hat. They have to do something to drive revenue.
So from a 30,000 foot level, can you walk me through what it would feel like if I was to go through the system?
I have a proven process. Every Sandler trainer does it a little bit differently, but what works for us is my clients come to a 2-day boot camp. We have those every month. In fact, I have one this week, Wednesday, Thursday. They're always the last Thursday, Friday of the month, and this is our proven way of orienting people. This is elementary Sandler, 2 days of all the Sandler rules, and then the client falls immediately into a reinforcement program, which we do virtually, every Tuesday from 10:30 to noon Pacific Standard Time. And that's done using Zoom. And we ask for a 6-month commitment. That's the proven amount. Come to the boot camp and 6 months of reinforcement training. And if you want to add coaching to that, that's a little bit extra. But we know that within 6 months, that's when the dust settles, when the light bulbs go off, and that's when you get a tangible benefit of the program, because you've actually made more using the system than what you put into it.
So
your return on investment comes in about 6 months.
Okay, so I'm not waiting 6 months till I see anything.
No, you're working on it. The first process is you can't walk out of a 2-day boot camp and use Sandler. You walk out using some of the principles, 3 to 5 things.
And do you recommend reading the book before you go to that boot camp?
Anything that you could do. I ask people, say, how do I prepare? I say, come with an open mind.
Okay.
And something to write with. We'll take care of everything else.
Okay.
Actually, the more you've purged yourself of what you think Sandler is, the better, because the experience is never what people think it is. It never is.
So the other part of that, then, my opinion, and you can tell me that I'm wrong, is that every time you would go through, so if somebody went through this multiple times, they're going to probably get a different experience every time because they're in a different spot.
You go to one boot camp. You only go to one boot camp.
Oh, okay.
And then you continue. It's continue. Think of going to the gym.
I don't ever think about that.
You can't.
I mean, you know me well. I mean, look at me, Scott. Do I look like I? I go to the restaurant.
It takes constant work,
right?
Because the techniques are perishable. They're
okay.
perishable.
Okay.
You have to practice them.
And that's a big issue. Is you've got to anything you want to be good at, you have to really practice.
And that's really what's different about Sandler. Those 3 things: working on the attitude, working on the behaviors, working on the techniques concurrently. All 3 of those together. A lot of training companies will just teach you a script. That's just technique, but they're forgetting the attitudes and the behaviors.
Yeah, you know something. One of the things that, and you're spot on. One of the things I hate about scripts is, we're all human. So if I didn't ask you the right question, then now what am I supposed to do? Because I don't have the right script to respond.
We don't teach scripts.
Yeah, it's
because all you do is look and sound like everybody else.
Right.
You can recognize there are certain trainers in the real estate industry, and you can see the kind of training they've gone through because they can't differentiate themselves.
So now you mentioned that in your methodology or your journey, I guess is the right term I would use, is you increase
learning path.
Learning path. Okay. So you increased your sales 30% in a short period of time.
6 months.
6 months.
Half the work. I worked half as hard. I got my life back. I was tired of working hard.
What do you see? I mean, and that's your experience. What do you see from some of the mentees that you have?
Oh man, if a client comes to me who's done a lot of personal growth training, they can pick up on this stuff pretty quickly, and it's in maybe 6 weeks. But our metric really is 4 to 6 months. That's really when the light bulbs go off for most people. I don't try to oversell it like it's magic dust. They really need to work at this stuff.
Work at it, work hard.
Yeah. Come to training, ask questions, call us if you have an issue going on, be interactive with other people, learn from others, meet outside of the training, develop a peer group. We talked about that before. Yeah.
Yes, a lot of those things are good. Yeah. So it always starts with the 2-day training, the boot camp, the 2-day boot camp.
Nobody escapes the boot camp. That's our path. That's the onboarding for everybody.
So y'all start there, and that's what, a 9 to 5, 8 to 4, whatever. Yeah. So a full day.
8:30 to 4:30. Yeah.
8:30. Okay, so figure a full day of commitment for that, and so knowing that you're not ready to write this down, I'm going to tell you anyway. Call me at 800-306-1990. I know how to get a hold of Scott, so I can put you in touch with him, and I give you my number, and you know where to find me every single day at this time. Special offers. Yes. We only got about a minute left.
Cost of 6 months of training is $6,490. $6,490 for anybody listening. And we're reference to this radio show. I'll knock $1,000 off.
Nice.
6 months of training.
For 6 months, wow, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's the boot camp and 6 months of reinforcement training that we call mastery.
Beautiful. So
$5,490.
So $5,490. So if you want that special from Scott, give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll give you Scott's number. It'll be in the show notes, so you'll be able to see that as well, or how to reach Scott in the show notes as well. It's pretty simple. I mean, he's got an email address that's really tough. Scott.bailey@sandler.com. Real tough to remember that one. But again, if you want to reach him, give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or meet any of our guests, call me anytime. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.